the subscribe button if you don't want me to come at night.
Imagine, if you will, a town like any other, until one day it is swallowed by an eerie, impenetrable fog. This town, let's call it Pleasantville, is a postcard-perfect place, nestled in the heart of California. It's a community stitched together by the ordinary threads of life. People go about their day-to-day routines, greetings are exchanged, children's laughter rings through the air, and dogs bark in the distance. But on this particular day, something changes. The sun rises, casting its golden glow over the town, but by mid-morning an unseasonable chill pervades the air. A thick, milky fog begins to creep in from the outskirts, swallowing up the distant hills, the tree-lined streets, until the whole town is lost within its ghostly embrace. This isn't your usual morning mist that burns off with the day's first light. No, this is something different, something unsettling. The fog is dense, so dense that it blots out the sun, casting a gray pallor over everything. It muffles sounds, making the world seem strangely quiet, and turns familiar sights into shadowy, indistinct shapes. It's as if the town has been transported into a black and white photograph, robbed of color, of life. The townsfolk at first are merely curious. They marvel at the unusual weather, exchange jokes about lost dogs and wayward mailmen. But as the day slips into night and the fog doesn't lift, their curiosity turns into unease. The laughter dies down, the conversations become hushed, and there's a palpable sense of apprehension in the air. The night deepens and the fog grows denser, clinging to everything like a shroud. The world outside is a gray void, filled with shifting shadows and half-imagined sounds. It's eerie, it's uncanny, and it's right outside your window. And as the town huddles in their homes, waiting for the dawn that seems so far away, they fail to notice the one thing that's changed, the one thing that's different. But what the town doesn't realize is that within the fog, something sinister lurks. The fog holds its secrets well, but for one unsuspecting resident, those secrets are about to be revealed. Imagine this: a weary resident going about his routine, trudging home late after a long day at work. The fog, a shroud of mystery, envelops the town in its icy grip, reducing visibility to only a few feet. He notices something moving in the fog, a figure, perhaps, but he brushes it off as a trick of his tired mind. It's late, he's exhausted, and the fog is playing games with his imagination. The figure, however, is far from imaginary. It's there, lurking in the shadows, obscured by the fog, watching him. Each time the resident glances over his shoulder, he senses its presence, a chill running down his spine. The figure seems to be getting closer, its silhouette growing more distinct with each passing moment. It's following him. A rush of adrenaline surges through him, the instinctual response to danger. He quickens his pace, his heart pounding in his chest like a drum. His house is not far now, just a few more steps. Fear propels him forward, but the figure, the phantom in the fog, is relentless. It's closing in, its form growing larger, its presence more intimidating. The resident can almost feel its icy breath on his neck, its gaze piercing through the fog. His breaths come in gasps, his pulse racing, his mind screaming one thing: run! And so he does. He runs as fast as his weary legs can carry him towards the sanctuary of his home. And just as he reaches his doorstep, the figure vanishes. It disappears back into the fog, swallowed by the shadows, leaving behind an eerie silence. Our resident is safe for now, but the figure in the fog is only beginning its hunt. As the sun rises, so does the fear in the heart of the town. In the cool, uneasy light of dawn, the tale of the first encounter begins to spread. The resident, a man known for his level-headedness, shares his chilling experience with the townsfolk. His words, raw and tinged with dread, echo in the minds of his listeners. His story is not just a whisper of fear, it is a shout, a warning that reverberates through the cobblestone streets and into the very marrow of the town. As he tells his tale, the fog, seemingly benign, continues to blanket the town. It's no longer just a weather phenomenon, it's a shroud that hides something sinister, something terrifying, a figure lurking in its depths, unseen but felt, its presence as palpable as the damp fog itself. His story isn't an isolated incident. More sightings are reported. A shadow here, a silhouette there, always obscured by the fog, always just out of clear sight. Each account adds a new layer of dread to the growing fear. The town is now on edge. The cheerful chatter that once filled the marketplace is replaced by hushed whispers and uneasy glances. The fog has become a symbol of fear, a harbinger of the unknown. As nightfall approaches, the town's usual bustle of activity slows. Doors are locked earlier, streets are emptier. The townsfolk, once jovial and carefree, are now prisoners in their homes, afraid to venture out after dark. The fog, once a mere inconvenience, has transformed into a monstrous entity, a predator lurking in the silence of the night. Yet the fear, as all-consuming as it is only the beginning. There's a sense of foreboding, a dread that the figure in the fog is not done, that it has more in store. The town waits, its heartbeat in sync with the ticking of the town clock, each second heavy with anticipation and dread. But fear is only the beginning. The figure in the fog has more in store. In the grip of the fog, the town becomes the hunting ground of an unseen predator. Imagine a place where the misty air holds a chilling secret, where every corner turned, every step taken, could be a dance with an unseen terror. This is the reality for the residents of our quiet little town. Their lives have become a twisted game of hide and seek with a predator that seems to be everywhere, yet nowhere at the same time. Picture this: a man, rugged and tough, a man who's never known fear, becomes a trembling wreck after a late-night encounter. He speaks of a figure obscured by the dense fog, watching him from a distance. No matter how fast he ran, no matter how far he went, the figure was always there, hidden in the fog, watching, waiting, and he wasn't the only one. Stories started to spread, stories of the predator in the fog. A woman, walking her dog in the early hours of the morning, felt a presence. She turned to find the fog swirling behind her, as if something had just passed through. Then the chilling laughter echoing through the mist, a sound that made her blood run cold. The town, once filled with life and laughter, turned into a ghost town. Streets once bustling with people now stood eerily empty. The playgrounds, once filled with the joyous laughter of children, now echoed with the chilling silence of fear. The residents, once friendly and outgoing, were now prisoners in their own homes, too terrified to step outside. But the question that looms over this fog-shrouded town is not who, but what. What is this unseen predator that lurks in the fog? Is it a mischievous prankster or something far more sinister? Is it a creature of the night or a figment of collective fear? The figure in the fog has claimed the town, but what does it truly want? In the heart of fear, courage often finds a way. In the chilling gloom of the fog-shrouded town, a band of brave souls stir. It's a motley crew of residents, their hearts pounding in their chests like war drums in the silent night. They've decided they've had enough. They are ready to face the terror that lurks within the fog. Armed with nothing more than their resolve and a few hastily gathered weapons, they step into the murky unknown. The fog is thick, swallowing their forms as they venture deeper. Their breaths come in short gasps, each one a ghostly whisper in the chilling air. The world outside the fog has faded into an eerie silence, leaving them alone with the crunch of their footsteps and the pounding of their hearts. Suddenly a shadow moves. A figure, barely discernible in the dense fog, flits across their vision. Fear grips them, a cold hand squeezing their hearts, but they press on. They give chase, their footsteps echoing through the foggy night. Yet the figure always seems to be one step ahead, slipping through the fog like a phantom. Through winding alleys and deserted streets, they chase the elusive figure. The fog thickens, wrapping the town in a shroud of mystery and fear. Their hearts pound louder, their breaths grow shorter, but determination fuels their pursuit. They are the hunters now. The chase leads them deeper into the heart of the fog. The world outside is a forgotten memory, their reality now a never-ending expanse of fog and fear. They stop, the figure's trail gone cold. They look around, their eyes straining against the fog. A sense of dread settles over them, heavier than the fog that envelops them. The chase leads them to the heart of the fog, but what they find there is beyond their wildest fears. What could it be? Well, that's a tale for another time.
Hit the subscribe button if you don't want me to come at night.